You see, everybody want to be like Mike Lowry. I told y'all, Sergey Kovalev versus Anthony Yarde recap. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel. Now, I just watched ESPN Plus. Link is in the description if you want to sign up for ESPN Plus. I'm Disney Ego. I'm ESPN Ego, and it helps the channel. I'm an affiliate with that. And Kovalev just stopped Anthony Yarde. I want to say the 11th round. Forgive me if I'm off by a round or so. But first of all, shout out to that fight. Very good fight. Tactical, young dog versus an older dog. Experience versus athleticism, youth, and speed. Very good fight. So I commend both of the fighters for this. Kovalev had to work for the stoppage. I predicted Kovalev would win, and he won for most of the reasons that I projected. Now, on my post fights, I try to give you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly, So I was actually doing round by round tweets on my Twitter. Follow me there at Boxingego. And I started off saying Russia always has a packed crowd of fans. Roy Jones was there. He had a performance as well. So that was dope. The first round, they're doing the ref instructions. And I said, Yarde's fucking back looks diesel. He's definitely in shape, a big dude, which I think, worked adversely late in the fight, which we'll break into. I said Yarde did pretty good in round one, but his hands are low, which is scary with a puncher like Kovalev. Another thing with Yarde's style, and is like there's a lot of people who are, they almost emulate that in which they grow up watching and stuff. And Yarde, based on his age, like late 20s, I guess, 27, 28, he probably came up in the Floyd era, seeing Floyd and stuff like that. So he has kind of the Philly shell, but he's doing it from round one, which is a bit different. People get a gas. I told you, everybody wants to be Money Mayweather, but they don't want to go through the pretty boy Floyd stages. That's my saying, and I feel it's so true. Not just with the A-side stuff, but also fundamentals. Floyd is a fundamentally complete fighter. People go to Google Images and you see Floyd in the shell and stuff like that, but he doesn't fight that one way, especially when he's fighting southpaws or kodos, different stuff. He comes out with the high guard. He mixes it up, and he'll fight in spots in the shell. It takes a real skill set like Floyd, who's just cultivated in boxing. His uncle and his dad got him into it at a very young age. People who are very naturally gifted, like one of my favorite fighters, James Lights Out Tony. So that didn't make sense, a big puncher. But I give credit to Yarde because he came out round one and he didn't look like he was nervous. He kind of came straight for Kovalev, and he did pretty good in round one. So that was cool. Kovalev landed some good body shots. Kovalev, he's a Russian fighter, and he has that kind of like traditional, stereotypical, I guess you could say, Eastern European style. Not much on the hooks and more straighter shots and stuff. Very good grasp of the fundamentals, like we've seen with guys from the Ukraine, like Klitschko, Kovalev from Russia and stuff. I said Yarde's doing good with his speed and athleticism. Look at the time I put this. This is in the first or second round. I said my only thing is I think Kovalev's pace is more sustainable the longer this goes on. Look at what I said, and I think that's what they tell the tape. This is a major thing. Yarde was fighting, and who he had fought didn't really ready him for this moment. Beyond that, he doesn't spar, and if he wasn't going to get sub 6 rounds or less, a knockout, then he was going to be led into deep waters and drown. And that's really kind of what happened. But I noticed that early on, like the athletic stuff is cool, but I know fighters, I know a ton of them. I watched them train. I respect the game, those types of things. Everybody knows the human body, unless you're on something like EPO or something that's giving you some kind of illegal PED, performance enhancing advantage, then everybody's going to fatigue. That's just the human body. It's a complex machine, and you can have mental willpower. Some people can push themselves further, but at the end of the day, everyone gets tired, and the second half was always going to be dangerous because that's when you start losing some of your fundamentals. Now, if you're reliant on speed and athleticism and you're not big on fundamentals, then what the fuck is going to happen? What is going to happen if you haven't really focused on that? You haven't trained yourself from the sparring and stuff like that. This is what I told people before the fight. Said Kovalev landed some real good shots in round 4. What else do we have here? Kovalev is landing nasty jabs, rocking Yarde's head back in spots. Now, see, Kovalev ain't no punk. Kovalev got power. So even though it may seem like a jab was ultimately what did Yarde in, you know? But those add up. Those are especially coming from a heavy-handed son of a bitch to begin with. And I noticed throughout the fight, Yarde is kind of walking forward and stuff, and he's taking flush jabs and stuff. That don't feel, it may not look like, you know, the flashiest of hooks and uppercut, you know, look crazy, but you're not supposed to accept that, you know, ooh, chin in the air and stuff like that. This is also something imperative. Yarde's mouth. This is what I'm saying before it really was obvious, you know. So follow me on Twitter. Yarde's mouth is wide open, breathing in round 5. Right. And then right around that time, I said the tone of the fight is switching, which benefits Kovalev. I'm breaking down the science, the sweet science for you guys. I don't know what else you want from me. Kovalev is boxing well. He is better pacing and fundamentals. This is ultimately why Kovalev won. We know who was younger. We know who's athletically better and faster and stuff. But Kovalev, he's underrated, criminally underrated as a boxer. He can box. This is why he was even able to hang with Andre Ward. Yarde complained to the ref because he didn't protect himself after a clinch. Another thing, a moment that wasn't a good sign. They had a clinch or a break, and the ref said break and was walking over, and Kovalev threw like a little uppercut, and it caught Yarde. And then Yarde was like, man, what? He hit me. And Kovalev apologized vehemently, like, oh, I'm sorry. You know, no, I didn't mean to foul you. But it really wasn't a foul. Like, you have to protect yourself at all times. So to me, that wasn't a good sign. That was kind of the fatigue setting in. You got caught slipping, you know, just like Victor Ortiz looking at Joe Cortez and shit. And then Mayweather, you know, Ortiz is like trying to kiss Mayweather because he fouled him intentionally. And then he gets bink. Oh shit. And then he look at Cortez, the referee and shit, like he hit me. And then Mayweather's like, bop. And then two-pieced him, put him to sleep. Protect yourself at all times. And that's where experience plays in. That I wouldn't even complain. I would, oh shit, you got me, you know. I think, and see, there's a lot of fighters like Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather, they're not going to give you nothing. Because I remember Shane Mosley, a similar scene in the back half of Mosley Mayweather, where same kind of thing, a break, and Floyd was like, bing, and hit him with a right. And Mosley's face went like that. And he was like, all right. You could tell Shane Mosley was pissed because he ate the whole shot because he wasn't ready. I think he was trying to touch gloves or something, but people ain't doing all that. You know, you got adrenaline. You're trying to get someone out. You don't get paid by the hour. Yarde dug some good body shots in round 7 that Kovalev didn't like. And Kovalev got more preservative in that, you know, in his approach once he felt those body shots. And I said, this is a good fight. Seeing the success from the body shots, Yarde came on strong and aggressive and started trying to walk Kovalev down, having success in the previous round with the body shots. And I said, oh shit, Kovalev almost got stopped by Yarde in round 8. It was looking like, you know, a repeat to the Ward fight, you know, repeat of Leader Alvarez first fight, stuff like that. I said, they're both tired. Yarde may have punched himself out a bit. Good fight. And it's funny I said that because that's what happened. I think he punched himself out. He was he wasn't conditioned for like a 12-round fight. Plus the muscle mass. Like you look at some of these UK dudes, Anthony Joshua and Anthony Yarde and stuff. They built, but that's like some Creed stuff. Like Michael B. Jordan getting swoller than he was in the first Creed movie. That's a look. That's an aesthetic. That don't help you in any way. If anything, it hurts you. And they talked about this a little bit in the telecast. Bradley's one of the only people who has this crazy cardio, and he looks insanely ripped. But he could do that. Even Mike Tyson. People don't realize Mike Tyson had a compact, stocky, boxy shape. Yes, he was big, but he was like a Bolo big. You know, Bolo Young from Bloodsport. You break my record, now I break you, like I break your friend. Bolo has like kind of that type of shape where you could tell he's big. You could tell he lifts something, but it's more of just a big kind of like a strongman type of physique. It's not like necessarily chiseled and plickety plack out, you know, stuff like that. So all the muscles, it takes blood flow, oxygen, and stuff like that to breathe. Yarde looking at the clock, not good. You know, I'm predicting this stuff and like commenting as I see it. But there was after one of his best rounds where he nearly stopped Kovalev. Kovalev had an amazing bounce back round the very next round. Very good bounce back round for Kovalev after previously being hurt. So whenever round it was, I just said 8, round 9 was a Kovalev round. And then you seen Yarde look up at the clock like, oh shit, you know, I still got time. That's where experience comes in. And I said Yarde was very inactive the last round. And this was more so the beginning of the end for Yarde because he was kind of tapped out. He was taking very small stands, but he was getting hit flush after this. I said Yarde ain't doing nothing now, very inactive. Kovalev landing good ass shots to punctuate the round. Just good fundamentals, kept that stick on him, kept that jab on him. And, you know, it was being zapped away from him. And I said Buddy McGurk is a G. Great pairing with Kovalev. I like that. Buddy and Kovalev, very good pairing because for whatever reason, Kovalev listens to him. And he told him, he said, keep this shit on the outside. Go to the body. He was great corner advice. And then I guess the fight had ended. He got stopped in the 10th round. I said, told you, you motherfuckers don't know shit. Bro, I told you Kovalev got this. Kovalev can box. Hashtag fundamentals. Hashtag fundamentals. So I give props to Yarde. The good for Yarde is he's young. He can bounce back from this. Because he got knocked out, but he was really exasperated, tired, and he got to work on something. Like these are the moments. This is why I told you guys on my channel that, see, and they get mad when I say I told you so, but this is literally everything, if you follow my channel, everything that I've said. So you got to deal with that. But Mr. I told you so, Yarde not sparring and stuff, this is why you don't see that. Because it's those, they always say the championship rounds that define you. And I think Tunde and Yarde, not really Yarde, I think his mouthpiece, Tunde and Yarde trainer relationship is more like Abel Sanchez when he was with Triple G. Abel Sanchez was the mouthpiece. Triple G would say some, yes, but a lot of it came from Abel. And I think that's how it was. Tunde put too much pressure on Anthony Yarde, saying, oh, no, Mr. Ward, we're going to have an easy time. It sounded delusional. I told you guys that. It sounded delusional. You're underrating Kovalev like he ain't shit just because you've seen other motherfuckers beat him. Alida Alvarez has an amateur pedigree. Alida Alvarez had already fought guys like Jean Pascal, who's a champion again now. You get what I'm saying? He had already beaten those former champion Lucian Butes and shit like that. So Alida Alvarez had more experience. Yarde had like 12 fights. And I don't even need to bring up Andre Ward's pedigree, gold medalist, Super 6 winner, fought everybody. He's been knocked down from the Darnell Boones and learned from it. So by the time he got knocked down by Kovalev, he got up and smiled and he was ready. He fought the bigger guys who couldn't make weight, Paul Smith and Edwin Rodriguez. So I really feel Team Yarde, especially Tunde, he just put pressure on. I guess he's trending now too. Boxing is lit. After 7 rounds of Kovalev, Yarde has him reeling. Oh, this is, anyway, I just feel like the experience wasn't really there. And this was a major climb up. And Kovalev being the more proven, better resume, having less pressure. I mean, he has pressure, hometown pressure, but in a sense, he has less pressure because he's been at these moments before. Jean Pascal just beat Marcus Brown. And Kovalev went to his backyard and stopped him twice. Kovalev nearly stopped Bernard Hopkins, who's a Hall of Famer. He hurt Ward and had 2 fights with it. This is all experience. He got dropped by Blake Caparello. So when Kovalev nearly got stopped in this particular fight, this ain't nothing new. He did get stopped by Ward. He did get stopped by Alida Alvarez in the first fight. He did get dropped by Blake Caparello. I told you this experience is valuable. And I think Yarde's style is all wrong. Some of these UK, and I know some of the UK guys might not want to hear it, they need to get with American trainers, period. Come out to America, different climate and all this shit. And some of the people who have, because Yarde to me already has athletic, natural gifts. It looks like he has good genetics size-wise. He has speed, and he was hanging in there with Kovalev, so I give him credit. And he did show heart because even when he was tired, he was still going for it and, trying to get it out of there. But what really would have benefited him is sparring, having stepped up maybe a level below Kovalev, you know what I'm saying? And not kind of go with just the gimmick stuff. Like, so I don't know who was the favorite in this particular fight, but, I give credit to Yarde. He showed heart, and he, if anything, since he hadn't stepped up to this caliber before, you know where to place him a lot better. So that's a good thing. Now from here is going to be mentally and spiritually how he bounces back from, something he didn't anticipate or want to happen. He already had his celebration plan, but he needs to kind of go back to the drawing board with the basics, pacing for a 12-round fight, these types of things, because all the mitt work and stuff, that's cool and that's cute and it's great for the cameras if you're doing like a documentary on boxing or something like that. But it's these moments, and he could have better prepared himself for some of those moments. Like just doing drills ain't gonna be enough, especially when it's just with your trainer. Because no offense to Tunde, but at the end of the day, he only has the experience that's internal to him. You get what I'm saying? Versus, let's say I want to become an entrepreneur, and then I have the privilege of picking Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, Jay-Z. I get to pick all these, Mark Cuban, all these different famous business people. I get to pick their brains. Jay-Z's experience is going to be different than Jeff Bezos' experience. So Jay-Z can teach me something that Jeff Bezos, who never sold rock or, never went through. So that's why it's valuable. If you're just sparring the same person who happens to be your trainer, who's way smaller than you and shit like that, then that doesn't really mean as much. But when you get a variety of different sparring partners, like let's say Adrian Granados fought Sean Porter. He sparred with Broner, then had a professional fight with Broner. Adrian Granados fought Danny Garcia. He fought Javier Fortuna. He's been around the block, and he's been at in these fights. So his experience on his own is invaluable. It's like getting to spar Klitschko. Klitschko, I'm sure sparred with his brother before, or, all the championship is different stuff. These guys got to live like champions. So I never really understood personally that whole motif, like MO, about not sparring and stuff like that. Experience pays. Shout out to Yarde. Like I said, I think he tried his best. He showed heart, but Kovalev was too much. Now, I will say this. Based on this fight and Kovalev, he had some oh shit moments. I don't know how big the Canelo Kovalev fight is after this, but I respect Kovalev's gangster though, because he's avenged the Leader Alvarez stoppage loss, and he just took out the lions in the camp, and he dealt with adversity. He's 36, so no matter what he does in his personal life, Kovalev can box, and he's a good boxer, and is a damn good boxer. I think ultimately Kovalev experience, the consistency. Kovalev's performance was consistency and consistent. And this is what you get sometimes with these athletic guys. If you don't work on your fundamentals, then consistency can be lost when natural things set in, like fatigue, lack of experience. That's the reality. In the back half of the fight, either you have experience or you don't, or you're learning on the job, So the athleticism, there's a variance to that. There's no variance to fundamentals. If you got a jab, you can still release the jab regardless of being tired, So you can fake the funk a little bit with just good. You have good footwork. You have a good defense. Yeah, you're going to be tired. It's going to be harder to keep your hands up and shit like that. But you can fake that a bit better because you have a grasp of the basics. But if you're, reliant on some of these, this is why you see certain guys like Sergio Martinez and Roy Jones, athletic freaks, where later in life, if they've been doing whatever they want, if they get an injury like Sergio Martinez, or they lose a bit of speed like Roy Jones, then it kind of ends for them. You know what I'm saying? As they get older, your body like slows down, and people could catch you a little bit better. When you were young and youthful, you had this freakish speed that nobody could could fuck with. So once that slows down just a tick, people might be able to catch you a bit, but oh, you out of position. But Prime Roy, you wasn't catching him. You get what I'm saying? So the fighters have to work on the basics. And I think Yarde has a canvas. It really is going to be from this point mental. How discouraging is this? But it's been a bad year for British boxing. A lot Ted Cheeseman, Anthony Joshua, Yarde stepped up and lost. Salute to these guys for taking on challenges, but it hasn't been the most positive year for British boxing. And I think Kovalev, I told you guys he can box. He has the experience, and he really did what sharks do. Really, actually kind of like crocodiles. They take you in the water, start tumbling you and wrestling with you, and then your neck snaps and you drown. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what he did. He took him into the deeper waters that he's not used to. So he was responsible enough in the first half of the fight. Then he battled some adversity. And after that, you didn't really see much from Yarde. You seen small, really, really small pockets of stands, where it's just like one last hurrah. But your work gets a bit lazier and your punches become a bit more telegraphed. And little stuff like that, looking at the clock, he got easily wrestled to the ground and then fell. Tim Bradley mentioned this. He said it's hard to get up from all that type of shit. Like you're just naturally tired and fatigued. And then when Kovalev hit him with a jab that he'd been landing all day, plus the fatigue and the accumulation of punches, it just was out. Like I don't really remember the last fight where someone got knocked out from a jab, but anything can happen when you're gassed. Look at Andy Ruiz and Joshua. Joshua had no legs. He was completely tapped, gassed. And I told you, Kovalev all day. So I don't know how big this made the Canelo fight, but this was a very good fight. Shout out to Kovalev for doing at a semi-advanced age what some people didn't think. People were saying, a lot of people, and see, I keep telling you guys, this is no knock on anybody, but you guys just go off of whatever, mitt work and stupid shit like that. You don't break down fights. That's what I hope to provide for the games, the sweet science. Man, I've been on a prediction streak. I'm not perfect. I'm not going to always get it right, but this year I've been on point. You guys picking Mikey Garcia to beat Errol and Anthony Yarde. And I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibilities, but what is it based on? That's all I want to know. And these motherfuckers don't break it down. They just break it down, motherfuckers in shape and look diesel and hub. So I guess they think he's going to win. This ain't a movie, dog. Let me know what you guys think. Very good fight. Shout out to ESPN Plus, main events, top rank, everybody involved in this particular one. Shout out to Russia. Let me know what you guys think. Very good fight, though. Rest up for Anthony Yarde and Kovalev. They both pushed each other, and that's what we like to see. Good tactical match. I wish them both health. Drop your thoughts in the comments section. We working. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.